The PS4 is killing it with its games library lately. It is head and shoulders above the Xbox One when it comes to the sheer amount of games and how diverse its game library is. There is something for every type of gamer on PS4, and that's what makes the system so amazing. And with the recent announcement of a 3D remastering of The Secret of Mana coming to it this February, the Xbox One has some serious catching up to do. But today I wanted to go over some PS4 games that you may have never heard of, or games that didn't get quite as much media coverage or attention, but are still awesome games and are worth playing. So with that out of the way, guys, let's jump right in with our first one, which is a lesser-known survival horror game published by Soidesco. And it's called Among the Sleep, and it takes a completely unique and interesting take on the genre. Among the Sleep was one of my favorite games I played last year, and in it you play as a baby who is trying to escape from monsters or things that go bump in the night inside the house and find their mother, with the help of your trusty teddy bear. The game is crazy and it's super creepy, and I love how it takes this horror genre and just completely flips it on its head. It's like nothing I've ever played before, and it is actually really scary at times, and the environment will make you kind of, skeeve up a little bit at times, and I absolutely love this game. It's a really an interesting one, and it's definitely one that's worth picking up and trying out if you haven't already. Next up is another game published by Soidesco called Aether 1. There seem to be a lot of Soidesco's games that are only available for order online from sites like Amazon, and they never get stocked in big box stores like Walmart or GameStop, which is kind of a shame because a lot of people never get exposed to them, and they're actually really good games. Anyway, Aether 1 is another game that has a super unique premise. You play as a person called a restorer whose job it is to investigate the thoughts and memories of a 69-year-old woman diagnosed with dementia. The game has super interesting plot and a very immersive environments to make it stand out from other games. Super fun adventure game, lots of puzzles in it, very cool gameplay. This is a game that is truly something different from the norm, and it's something you're looking to try out, something different from usual shooters or whatever you've been playing. It's a good change of pace, and it's definitely one you guys should try. A game that is criminally underrated and underappreciated is Shantae the Half Genie Hero. This is an excellent platformer with such amazing art style, and the gameplay is just as good, not to mention that it's some of my favorite music in any game I've ever played. It is a shame that most people never gave this game a chance, and it is truly something special. There are actually two other Shantae games on the PS4 that are also amazing, but those are only available digitally unless you were lucky enough to get the limited run versions of them. Anyway, Half Genie Hero I feel like is the best of the bunch, but you really can't go wrong with either of them. So if you're looking for an awesome platformer, look no further than any of the Shantae games on the PS4. If you're a Zelda fan, you are going to love our next game. Oceanhorn clearly draws loads of inspiration from the Zelda series, especially the Wind Waker. Now, the game was originally released on the mobile phones back in 2013, but just recently made its way onto the PS4, and it even got a limited physical release, which I love. I actually picked that up from Limited Run Games. It's pretty cool. I've been playing it a lot lately. Anyway, the game is a solid adventure game that features really cool world to explore with tons of dungeons and exploring and items to collect. You can even sail in it. Unfortunately, the sailing is linear, not like Wind Waker, you can kind of explore that, but it does look good and it's pretty fun. Any fan of Zelda would feel right at home with Oceanhorn, and it's a fun little adventure that fans of the genre should definitely try. Speaking of games that Zelda fans would love, another game that has many similarities to Zelda is Yonder the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. I love the way this game looks. It's sort of a mixture of older Wind Waker mixed with the newer Breath of the Wild, kind of somewhere in between, and it makes for a really cool art style. The gameplay also is very fun. Though there aren't actually any enemies in the entire game, like there's no combat, there's still much to do here and much for players to enjoy. Like I said, there's tons of exploring and crafting and side quests to keep you engaged for multiple hours. The game is out just last month in July 2017, and I didn't hear a single person talk about this game, and I just saw it on the shelf one day. I was like, this looks really cool, what is this? I gave it a chance, and it was really, really good, and it's a shame that no one really talked about this game, or at least anyone that I know of was talking about this game. It deserves more praise, and it deserves more people to try it out. Next up is a crazy fun bullet hell shooter called Ghost Blade HD. Now, this game was originally a homebrew for the Sega Dreamcast of all things that came out in 2015. but they was then upgraded to HD graphics and put on the PS4 just recently, and it is an outstanding shoot 'em up style and one of the best on the PS4. Again, the game was only saw a limited print of physical copies. I got mine from PlayAsia.com, but of course you can still download it digitally, and I highly recommend doing so. The game is intense and it's actually very challenging at times, and it'll take you many attempts in order to get the patterns down, but the effort is worth it in the end. If you love shooters or vertical shooters, look into this one. It's definitely worth your time. A game that I was shocked to see make an appearance on the PS4 is Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. Now, this was originally a Sega Master System game way back in the game, so when I heard it was coming to PS4, I was super excited. And it did get a limited run games print run, and I was actually able to pick that up. But again, these are all available digitally. But anyway you get this game, it's definitely worth it. The game is an amazing platformer with a little bit of RPG elements tossed in, but perhaps the coolest thing about the game is you can actually swap between modern HD graphics and that old school Master System look. Super cool they brought back this old school franchise, and if you've never played any of the Wonder Boy games before because you never had a Master System or anything like that, this is the perfect way to check out that series. It's so cool, and hopefully they do more of this in the future. But not all people were talking about this one either. Maybe more of the hardcore collectors were, but not people that were like the new gen people were. But it's definitely worth checking out. Yet another Zelda-style game that it's worth checking out is called Hyper Light Drifter. Can you guys tell that I'm a huge Zelda fan? But anyway, this is a surreal neon take on the Zelda formula, and it's freaking amazing. I love this game. The colors and art style stand out from anything else I've ever played. The gameplay is what you'd expect, the exploring dungeons, gathering power-ups, battling bosses, but it's executed extremely well. This game was one of the biggest surprises of the year when I played it, and it really wasn't on that many gamers' radars, at least that I knew of. No one was really talking about this in my circle. But anyway, it was a small print run of physical copies, but again, if you missed out on them, you can still download this digitally. If you're a Zelda fan, if you're an action-adventure fan, this is definitely one you guys should check out. It's super cool, loads of fun with this one. Back in the day, I used to spend countless hours trying to beat Super Meat Boy on hardest settings, and I thought it was so freaking impossible, because it is. It's so hard. But this game called Rive somehow is even harder, all while being just as addicting. The game is a mixture of a shooter, a platformer, and it will have you on the edge of your seat the entire time. You'll have to really perfect your strategy to beat this game, as its puzzles, platforming challenges, and your shooter elements can all put together for one frustratingly hard experience, but you'll love it once you start getting into it. You'll have to die repeatedly until you figure out the patterns and the timing, but it's really easy to fall in love with a game like this, because once you beat one of those levels, which you put the time in to perfect it and you beat it, there's such a rewarding feeling to that, and such a feeling of accomplishment, and you don't really get that from many games these days, and it makes you want to play it more and more and more until you get it down, until you finally beat it, and then you can finally say you beat this game. But anyway, if you're looking for a challenge of a fun game, this is definitely one worth checking out. Again, a limited run game, but can be downloaded for cheap. And my final game on today's list, I was completely unaware of until recently, and it has blown me away. I've actually beaten this game a handful of times, and I've gotten most of the trophies for it, and that is Little Nightmares. And this is a very cool take on a horror platforming game. A lot of people compare it to like a 3D Limbo, something like that. Another great game. Anyway, this game is an incredibly creepy feel to it, and I absolutely love it. You control a little girl who's trying to escape a ship that's filled with giants who are trying to eat you, and it just makes for some intense moments hiding or running from your life. It's super insane. Not to mention that this game has some of the coolest packaging I've ever seen for a standard edition PS4 game. I mean, look at this. It comes with a statue of the little girl. It comes with an artwork booklet, and it's all for cheap. It's only like $25, $30. Do yourself a favor and pick this game up if you haven't already. You guys will not be disappointed if you're into survival horror games or anything like that. Very fun game and very cool packaging on top of it. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please do me a favor and hit that like button down below. Subscribe for more content in your sub boxes daily. Check out my PS4 videos in the end slate and link in the description. Also, let me know what games you guys are checking out there. I would love to know what games I need to try, ones you guys suggest for me to try, or maybe were underrated in your book. Love to read those comments. But until next time, guys, remember that it's always came back time somewhere. Well, till then, take it easy and peace out.